morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Property Subcommittee at Staffordshire County Council today, Wednesday, the 2nd of February 2022. First item on the agenda is apologies for absence. Do we have any apologies for absence?
Yeah, good afternoon, Chairman. We've received apologies from Councillor DeVille and Councillor Parry.
Thank you. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations of interest? Councillor Price.
Item number 7, the North End Community Association on Homecroft Road. That is within my division, and I've also supported them in the past.
Thank you. We've got the minutes of the meeting held on the 1st of December 2021. Can I approve those as a correct record of the meeting? For the record, that is agreed unanimously. Moving on then to agenda item 4, which is Boiler House at St John Offley CAV VC Primary School Madeley Crew proposed transfer. Just get there because I'm just on electronic. Councillor DeVille is usually to present this for us today, but he is absent. So I'll hand over to who's taking it forward. Ian Turner. Ian.
Thank you, Chairman. This is just a regularisation of a transfer of assets in relation to schools. For some reason, when previous transfers took place, the boiler house wasn't transferred to the diocese, and as that's classed as part of the school buildings, that is required. But as is usual with these kind of transfers, we bring them here because it's not for value. And we just want to give you an overview of any of the disposals that are happening that aren't for value. Thank you.
Thank you. Legal?
No additional. Thank you.
Finance?
No comments, Chairman.
Valuation?
No comment from me either, Mr. Chairman.
Any local member comment?
Yes, just 1 second, I'm just trying to find it. Yeah, so Councillor Northcott said, thank you for including myself via the report pack. As a local member, I fully support and endorse the proposals laid out in the report relating to the disposal of the boiler house ownership from Stafford County Council to the diocese.
Thank you. The next, some have members' input, you might have to say them slightly more slowly. Okay, that was very fast. Any comments from members of the committee? It's a relatively straightforward transaction. All those in favour? That is unanimous. The next item on the agenda is the agenda item number 5, which is Henry Prince CAV First School, the Old Schoolhouse Main Road, DE6 2LF proposed transfer. Mr. Turner?
Very similar circumstances, except this is the whole of the school. It's slightly complicated by the fact that the school has now closed. But the diocese's view, which we don't disagree with, is that this land should have transferred while the school was operational, and therefore they should have the benefit of that asset when the school closes. And so they're asking us basically to catch up with a transaction that should have happened some time ago. And it is just a transfer of the school, the part of the property where the school buildings lie, to the trustees of the diocese. Thank you.
Legal?
No additional comments, thank you.
Finance?
No comments, Chairman.
Valuation?
No comment, as it's regularising a transaction that's set out in law.
Local member?
No comments received.
Mr. Chairman, I have some local member comments.
You've got the local member comments?
Yes, I consulted with
Councillor Atkins?
Councillor Atkins, yeah. Excellent.
Okay, well, in that case, for this one, Zach, you're replaced by Mr. Turner. Ian.
Thanks for the email. It should have been transferred years ago and would save us headaches.
Is that the entire substance of the correspondence?
Councillor Atkins does go on to give us some more information around the parish council, but that's not really relevant to the transaction.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Members of the committee, any comments? All those in favour? Agreed. It is unanimous. Moving forward then to the St Leonard's Church of England VA Primary School, Sirescut Lane, Tamworth, B79 9DX. I know the local member here. Ian, Mr Turner.
Yes, we're on a bit of a theme at the moment in terms of transfer school sites. This is another one where we are just catching up with the administrative processes about transferring the land. More generally, there were about, I think, a dozen or so of these that were hanging over and the transfers weren't done at the appropriate time, and we're steadily making our way through them. I believe we've got about half a dozen left now. Probably ought to bring an update informally in terms of what's left, but it is just a standard transfer in accordance with all the usual requirements. Thank you.
Legal?
No additional comment, thanks.
Finance?
No comments.
Valuation?
No comment from Mr Chairman.
I'm the local member, and I have no comment on this. So, members of the committee, any comments? All those in favour? It is unanimous. Moving forward to agenda item number 7, North End Community Association CIO Holmcroft Road, Stafford, proposed renewal of ground lease. Again, in the absence of Councillor DeVille, who's taking it forward?
Yes, that's one of mine, Mr Chairman. They had a ground lease for 6 years, which has expired. The old lease was not outside the Act, so we are obliged to provide them with a new lease. And we have agreed, we have offered them a 25-year lease, subject to your approval, on the same terms as a ground lease, so that the community centre can continue to operate and they can obtain grants. And otherwise on the same terms as the existing agreement.
Thank you. Legal?
Only comment is whether it should be excluded lease because it's a different entity.
Mr Chairman, as the old lease wasn't excluded, we will have to agree to it being included in the lease, in the Act.
Thank you. Finance?
Chairman, I just wondered if we could have an indication, a rough indication of the cost of any maintenance obligations on the lessee, please.
Mr Chairman, there won't be any for us. It's a full repayment. It's only a ground lease we're offering, so the community centre are responsible for their own costs on this one, repairs.
So just check, if we weren't to renew the lease, what would that mean in terms of the council's obligations? So what do we avoid, in other words, by taking out the lease?
We would then have a building to market, but obviously that could prejudice a local community facility. That could have ramifications in other directions if we chose to go down that route.
Okay. Valuation?
No further comment.
Mr Turner, before I throw it open to committee, anything to add?
Well, just as clarified, it is a ground lease. What we should point out is that this is also, so the building wasn't provided by us, but the building is operated under a charity. That's currently with the council's charity committee, but we haven't had really any involvement in running the charity, and that has been done by managing trustees. So part of this process is actually to hand the responsibility over to the CIO, Charitable Incorporated Organisation, so that the County Council's Charity Committee doesn't have anything to do with it, and we simply have the ongoing freehold interest in the land that we will continue to lease out. And it puts it on a similar footing then to any other community-type buildings where we don't actually receive any income in terms of our freehold interest in the land, but all the responsibility for running cost maintenance and everything of the buildings is left with the occupiers. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Price, you're the local member.
Yeah, I've got full confidence in the trustees. They've maintained the building to a high standard and the grounds, which is not a liability that we need. It was a vaccination centre for the past sort of 12, 18 months as well, and they've done a fantastic job. And the work they do within the community out of that building as well has been fantastic. So it's a huge asset to the area, and I fully support this 25-year lease.
Okay, Councillor White, any comments? No. The recommendation is to renew the ground lease for the community building to enable existing local services to continue. Those in favour? That is unanimous. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is agenda item... I've got out of sequence here. The exclusion of the public. Thank you very much indeed. That the public be excluded from the meeting for the following exempt items of business which involve the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in the paragraphs of Part 1 of Schedule 12A as amended of the Local Government Act 1972 as indicated below. I so move.